Welcome back to Night Mine, friends. And for the first time ever, welcome to the Halloween Candy Bowl. What is the Candy Bowl? Something quite a bit different than what we're used to seeing here, but at the same time working in the spirit of the Night Mine channel. Something scary, something new, and something unexpected. Over the course of the last 3 months or so that this channel has been up, it's been a pleasure of mine to introduce our community to brand new stories and experiences they never knew existed, while also revealing more about things they might have been familiar with. It's an incredible feeling to read or hear about someone's initial unknown creation, just a spark of an idea given a major gust of life and blown into a fireball. One by one, people come to it, and then call many others over until entire masses are standing in the glow of what's now become a bonfire. At this point, the people create among themselves, interact, share their own stories, and build upon the scene that's been generated. And before you know it, that small spark has turned into an event that's embedded in the memories of a whole group of people. The Candy Bowl is a celebration of this idea, bringing light to new creations in our preferred field of imagination and fantasy with a dark, creepy, or scary twist. Halloween is the imagination and adventure holiday. It's the one time of year that people look forward to putting on a brand new skin and assuming the role of a character, adopting the guise of an element from a major story or fantasy. The greatest creative ideas are celebrated in the streets of big cities, local towns, and even small villages across homes, hotels, and event halls across the country. But like everything else, those ideas began very small and very unknown until given the proper lighting and brought to the level of notoriety and impact they have today. Before Slender Man was well known, he was just a monster in an indie video game. Before he was chosen as the villain of that game, he was the antagonist of the small but growing web series known as Marble Hornets. Before that, he was just a Photoshop image in black and white on a humor forum. And before establishing the biggest indie horror game series since the Slender games and getting a movie deal from Warner Brothers, Scott Cawthon made 6 games over the course of 7 years that failed to land with players. He had admitted in an interview shortly after that, at the time, he was on the verge of quitting his career as a game developer for good. He decided to give it just one more shot with a new idea, Five Nights at Freddy's, and we all know the story from that point. Everything huge once began small, and now, more than ever, independent homebrewed work has proven to be just as capable and attention-worthy as mainstream products. The very next Slender Man, Five Nights, or Undertale phenomenon can be thought of tomorrow or just might be in progress right now. The Night Mine Candy Bowl is a salute and celebration of great creations flying under the radar while giving a firm nod to similar stories and characters you may already know. It's my sincerest hope that, in the course of entertaining you and shedding some light on new creations and creators, this year's Candy Bowl series will provide enough inspiration to kickstart the biggest phenomenon of tomorrow. I want to be there when the next icon of indie horror success inspires legions of others. I want to be the one to cover it and help share it, and I want to see it come from you. This year, we're kicking things off with some familiar ground by heading into the darkest, deepest woods to find the monsters that lurk there. Tales of horrifying creatures and evil men roaming the forest have been around forever, and there's good reason for it. The woods are still that major region of the world where anything could be hiding, and no one is around to save you if something goes wrong. In the territory of New England alone, there isn't a single state with total woodland percentage that drops below 50% of the entire area. It's not very hard to imagine something unsavory living in the forest, holding out against society's expansion. Maybe this is why, when stories circulate of people coming across something horrifying out in the woods, we happen to lean in a bit closer and listen more intently than we would for any story about a nice evening hike. In 1992, a small radio station DJ named Arthur in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania was manning the station alone with his producer. Just before 1 a.m., Arthur began to wrap up his show when he was told that Eric, who would be on the next shift, was running a bit late. In the meantime, Arthur would stay live with listeners manning the fort until Eric turned up. Thankfully, Eric decided not to leave their listeners hanging and called into the show to explain his situation.
Yep. Eric. Hey, Eric, you there?
Hey, Artie.
Hey, how are you doing, Eric?
I'm alright, man. I freaking... Dude, I hit a deer or something coming out here. One of my headlights is all screwed up. I got blood and fur all up in the grill.
Oh man, but you are okay, right?
No, I'm fine. It's just, I don't know, man. It's not under my car or anything, man. I feel real bad about it. It's like Bambi's out in the woods dying, you know?
It's all right. It happens, and it's sad, but we live through it.
No, I'm sorry. You guys got held up, man. I'll be there as soon as I can. It's just, I wanna. I'm somewhere near that preserve or what, the Tannersville Bog. I don't know. There's a sign about a half mile back. I'm gonna go check on the deer. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit it with like a shovel or something. I got in the trunk. Just 'cause I feel terrible, man. But thanks for waiting for me, man. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Not
right?
a problem. Eric, I'll also check the traffic reports and see exactly where you are because I'm not too sure. But I'll look for construction or something that would cause a detour, and I'll get back to you later.
All right,
Okay.
man. Thanks for waiting. I'll see you soon.
No problem.
Arthur goes on to pull up the news segment Eric had selected for the opening section of his program. The crew of Unsolved Mysteries would be coming to the area to investigate a certain house regarding an incident in the winter of 1983. For more information, listeners were invited to pick up the local paper, which would be running a story on it the next day. Arthur plays some music, and after a break, the producer comes in to say they have Eric back on the line.
Eric, are you there, bud?
Yeah, hey man, I was giving you those those directions before. There's actually a detour, maybe a half mile after the preserve. So, if that gives you any ballpark where I am, man, like I think I'm like 10, 15 minutes out, but I'm in the woods right now, man. I fucking found the deer that I thought I hit. I don't. Its fucking stomach is gone, man.
That can happen, Eric. Sometimes there are impacts that cause internal damage like that.
It's like freaking gutted. I don't know, man. It's like, could it wolf get out here that quick? I don't know. Is that how that works?
Sometimes, Eric. Let me talk to the producer here. I'm gonna try and put some music on so we can talk this out. Okay?
Can you just stay on the line with me? I mean,
Yeah.
play music or whatever. Just talk me through this, man.
No problem. I'll stay on the line. Just give me 1 minute.
All right.
Hold on. Cheryl, I'm gonna go to music. Okay? Okay. All right, folks. We will be right back with Lucky You, another 3 set of wonderful songs that was picked out by our very own Eric. Okay, enjoy. Okay, Eric?
What's up, man?
Okay, so I've got some strange news. I don't know if it's quite exactly bad news. I looked up the traffic report for your area,
All right.
and not only is there no detour or any construction around your area, but you're also not coming towards the station at all. It seems that you're running parallel to it, and you've actually passed the general direction of it by about like 6 or 7 miles if you're actually at the bog there.
What do you mean?
I'm just telling you what the report says here, Eric. It's telling me that you do not have a detour, that those signs should not be there, that there's no road work or even an accident or a disabled car on the road at the moment.
Alright, I mean...
What do you see around you?
Is it always so fucking dark up here?
Uh,
I don't even know where the road is from here, man.
I don't...
Look, 50 feet into the woods, I can't even see the highway.
That's weird, because here at the station, the moonlight is almost blinding. I had to pull the shades, to be honest with you. It could just be a rain cloud. They were calling for a little bit.
Wait.
Eric.
I've just fucking sucked myself out, man. I feel like it's like a bear or something following me out here, you know?
No, it sometimes feels like that. I know. Being out there alone in the woods, noises start to spook.
All right, okay, I found the highway.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. See, so your luck is looking up.
Eric attempts to start the car, but it's no longer working. Arthur puts him on hold and opens a second line to call emergency services. When he comes back, Eric has more to tell us about his situation.
Okay, Eric?
Yeah.
Alright, no need to worry. We've got someone headed
Dude,
towards you right now, so.
I, whatever I fucking hit outside the car.
It's alive or is it dead?
No, the deer is dead, but that's not what I hit. It's standing right outside my car. It's looking at me.
It's looking at you? Is it a person? Did you hit a person?
When you put me online too, or whatever you fucking did,
Yeah,
I
I
went
put
out
you
to
on,
look at my
put you on
engine
hold.
thinking, I don't know, maybe I could, fix it or something, but it looked like I ran over like branches or some shit, so I thought, maybe that's what stalled me. I don't know how fucking this shit works, but I fucking tried to take the branches out, and it fucking started moving, and he's. I fucking got back in the car and I was just looking at me.
Okay, but you're in the car and the car is locked and you are okay, right?
Yeah, but the lights keep fucking fading out, man. I mean, I don't. He's just looking at me.
What do you mean the lights are fading out? What else do you see? Do you see anything? You said that there were no lights before, but can you see now?
I saw the moon before, but it's just dark now.
Okay, and at the moment you are safe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I sent,
Already, the light just went out.
Oh, shit. Okay. Eric,
He's
here's what
not
I'm gonna
there
do.
anymore.
What do you mean? He's walked away, or?
Artie.
Eric? Eric, it's okay. Come back.
Arthur. It's snowing out.
No, you're psyching yourself
Arthur,
out.
it's fucking snowing out.
You're the one who said that you're psyching yourself out. There's no way it's snowing. It's right now. I mean, it dropped like 2 degrees, but it's still 65 degrees here.
Pavement's here.
Yeah, I know. I played their set a while back.
You'd fucking love the bassist, man.
What do you mean?
He's right here.
There's no way he's right there, Eric. You're in your car.
He knows his shit, man. You can get a kick out of him.
Eric, I know you're not into this stuff, but were you doing any drugs tonight? Did you drink something?
No.
Are you sure? You didn't have any, like, pick-me-up after dinner, or? Okay. I'm gonna call the cops and see where they are. Can you hold on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna put you on hold. I'm not gonna hang up. Okay, Eric.
Artie, the snow's gone. The moon. Where did the moon go, Arthur? Where the fuck is the moon?
Listen.
It's all gone.
It's behind a cloud. It's gonna come back. You just gotta take a deep breath.
He's fucking right outside.
I don't want to put any more bad. I know. I don't want to put any more bad news on you, but it's back. Whatever it is back. Eric, what does it look like?
It's on the fucking hood.
What does it look like, Eric?
Get in.
Eric.
Artie, he's breaking in.
Eric, I'm sorry. Eric. Eric, answer me. Are you okay? What the hell was all that noise? Eric. What do we do?
What you've just heard is a short audio horror story called Twigs, and it was made by none other than the guys from Everyman Hybrid. The full piece was uploaded to YouTube on a secondary account for miscellaneous videos called Sham Life. An accompanying Tumblr blog was also created titled What is Twigs, run by a character named Jared who found the original audio in the archives of the radio station. The blog contains articles Jared has collected over time surrounding a mysterious creature that can only be referred to as Twigs. There are also pictures, drawings, and user-submitted stories about encounters with the monster and documents that have been found concerning its existence. The blog is still up and has truly engaging writing about run-ins with the beast that really capture the feeling of coming face-to-face with the surreal horror lurking in the forest. Meanwhile, our apparent hero, Jared, is starting to come undone under his research, becoming increasingly more paranoid. If you're up for some intense encounters with something that just should not exist, follow the link in the description below and try to answer the question for yourself. What is Twigs? Our next investigation into the mysteries of the woods begins with an old story titled Through the Trees. Like the one before it, this entry has affiliated pictures, or to be more exact, drawings. According to the author, the subject of the tale doesn't like photographs. I wish he would have stayed home, away from this cruel world that we live in. Dear reader, children shouldn't roam this world alone, but we can't keep them in their nest forever. My son left his room one night to the enchanted chirping outside his window, and I knew what this was, but only from my years of studying this creature. You see, there's a monster that wanders around the globe preying on innocent children, watching, waiting. I remember fondly. It was September 15th, 1983. That was the year my wife and I escaped the busy world of New York to live our lives in the country, North Dakota. We lived happily there for several years until I discovered my one true love, studying the seed eater. The seed eater is a disturbed bird-human creature that roams the forest, stalking children, abducting them to be part of his legend. On June 19, 1987, I first saw it sitting in my tree on my front lawn. I was in a daze when I saw it. My destiny beckoned to me. It said, follow it, love it, learn it. Around the same time 2 weeks later, I awoke to a strange tapping noise on my front window, and I knew it was him. I ran out of the house to see it sitting in the tree, just staring into my eyes. I was about to cry from the majesty of it. I remember it telling me that it wanted my help, and I would do anything for it. On April 3rd, 1988, the seed eater arrived at my window again. I was overjoyed. I said it was time, and I remember. You see, the seed eater, he devours children to keep itself alive, indulging in their youth to live forever. I remember the little boy. Oh, what was his name? Oh well, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. I remember going to his house and just simply knocking on the door at 4:29 a.m., but nobody would answer. I saw the bay window. It was the boy's room. I went to tell the seed eater. Let's just call him S.E. for now. He told me how to get his attention the next day. A couple of weeks went by and the stench of the flesh was getting disgusting. Where was S.E.? The parents of the boy put up lost posters last week. I wonder why they didn't worry for the first 2 weeks. Oh well, I'm not concerned. On May 14th, 1988, the boy was nothing but bloated, rotting flesh, and the seed eater was nowhere to be found. I guess my services weren't needed. May 15th, 1988, he came. He took the body and requested another. May 16th, 88. 6 kids killed, 6 kids devoured, 6 more requested. May 18th, 88. However, losing people makes me wonder. The killer monster seed eater came tonight. He said kids weren't doing the trick anymore. He wants something bigger. If you're reading this, you may be the only hope to finding out the truth of this thing. In my room, go to my room, there's a journal. On page 49, you'll discover how to take the life out of this monster. He's had me under a tight death grip. I couldn't do it. Maybe you'll have more strength than me. Goodbye, everybody. I hope being eaten is what I brought onto myself. The story of the seed eater only begins here. On April 20th, 2010, a blogspot site was created to catalog stories by others of their encounters with the monster. The man maintaining the blog, Cliff Howry, also opened a Twitter account to keep interested parties up to date by the minute. As he posted previously collected stories from those interviewed, Cliff began to receive more reader submissions and posted those as well. Some readers also had pictures and documents, but these submissions came with computer viruses, venomous intent from anonymous sources, and damaged items. To keep a more visual record of his investigation, Cliff opens a YouTube account as well and soon receives an anonymous warning to stop what he's doing. Cliff is altering the course of the hunt. Soon after, a friend forwards him an image from 4chan's paranormal board describing the Seed Eater Code, a list of ordinances that are not to be broken. Breach of any ordinances specified will alter the course of its hunt, which presents a clear and present danger to the breacher. By now, Cliff has broken several rules. He only continues to dig a deeper hole for himself by interviewing a man named Brady who knows about the ordinances and their importance, and clearly knows a lot more about the Seed Eater than he's willing to share.
I maintain love those details on these sort of experiences. You're not supposed to do that, you know. Why is that? breaks rules 1 and 6. I'm not the type of person who likes to follow rules, I'm sure you can tell.
I sure can. What am I supposed to help you with?
I'll look at your story from front to back just to make sure it matches up with the other documentations of it.
There are others?
Yes, I've collected 2 from people in town.
Are these part of your whatever?
Well, yes, they are.
And you're investigating all of this?
Yes, I am.
That's a breach of Rule 4.
As I said, I don't really follow those rules.
You're not getting it. You're going to provoke it, and it's going to come after you.
I'm sure if it does, then I'll be ready for it. I'm more informed on the subject than most people were.
Others a bit more informed than you.
The Seed Eater Experiences blog contains several accounts from those who have met the Seed Eater itself, and as Cliff continues to mount evidence about its existence and what seems to be a conspiracy to keep it alive, the danger starts coming to him. Images of old beaten-up books and pictures add to the reality of the story, and the combined use of the blog, Twitter, and YouTube make for an engaging experience about a seriously demanding monster. As with the previous Twigs blog, this is best experienced on a personal expedition. The blog contains all video uploads in the proper timeline, and users can follow the Twitter alongside to gain more insight into Cliff's life and even the lives of his followers. Finally, viewer suggestions on underrated monsters and creatures turned up not just 1 but 2 stories of evil things lurking outside the house. For the pleasure of the Nightmind community that fears the open outdoors, I would like to present The Thing That Stalks the Fields. It was a few weeks ago that the hay bales started creeping slowly away from the house. Every morning when I woke up, each had moved a few hundred feet from where it was before. I assumed it was pranksters with nothing better to do, so I ignored it. Within a few days, though, the bales began to approach the boundaries of the farm. I was tired of the whole game by then and decided to move them back. It took a tedious hour to bring them all from where they were to over near the house again, and by the time I was done, I was ready to snap the neck of whatever little pissant was deciding to screw with me. The next morning, I found each and every one of my horses messily decapitated. The smell was what woke me up. Each one was slumped over against the side of its stall. There were no signs of the heads. I spent the rest of the day cleaning up the mess and burying the remains. It was only when I was done that I noticed the bales of hay had all returned to their positions from the day before, scattered far out into the fields. This time, I left them where they were. That night, I sat on my porch with my shotgun in hand and a pot of coffee on the table beside me. I sat for hours, straining my eyes into the fields to catch a glimpse of who was moving my hay bales. Finally, I was beginning to nod off. I would have, but just as my eyes began to close, I heard a clamor and a rustling of trees from the nearby woods. I leaned forward, my heart racing with excitement. I was going to catch the bastard. I fumbled with my gun and fidgeted in my seat, waiting anxiously for whoever it was to get close enough to ambush. It was only when the thing got close enough for me to make out its silhouette in the dark that I was frozen still. The thing that crept into my fields from the nearby woods didn't seem to notice me sitting there. It stalked, hunched and deliberate, through the field with the posture of a tiptoeing thief. If not for the fact that it must have towered to over 10 feet tall even in its crouched position, it might have seemed almost frail. The thinness of its arms and legs and the emaciated, caved-in quality of its chest reminded me of a starving animal. Still, this thing was undeniably strong, and I watched it hoist each bale up into its arms with ease and set it down carefully a while away, taking only a few strides to cover the distance. I watched it work, moving each bale thoughtfully. Every once in a while, it would straighten up to look around at the other bales' positions in the field before adjusting the one it was working on ever so slightly. Before it left, it looked towards the house. I felt its eyes sweep over me in the dark, but whether it saw me or not, I couldn't tell. Then it turned silently and crept back the way it came, disappearing into the dark of the woods. It took me an hour before I had the courage to move at all. I went inside after a while, but didn't sleep that night. It was only when the sun rose that I dared step off my porch into the fields. The hay bales were where it left them. Strangely, it didn't move them as far as it had in the previous days. They were approaching something invisible in the fields, and as I looked at them, I realized that they seemed to be marking some line. As I walked around the house, I saw the distinct circle that they formed with me at the center. At first, I thought the bales were just being haphazardly moved away from the house, but now I could see that they were instead being moved towards some boundary. The thing was sending me a message. I slept uneasily that night, and only because I was exhausted. The next morning, the bales hadn't moved at all. They didn't move at all for the rest of that week, in fact. They were finally where the thing wanted them. I made myself sick trying to interpret it. Why would this thing expend so much energy moving my hay bales and threaten me with such violence should I try to interfere? Killing my horses was just that, a threat. An intelligent threat at that. It knew it would scare me, and it knew that I would understand the implications. The sound of an automobile working its way along the road to my farm one morning gave me a little rush of excitement. I'd been planning to abandon the farm since I saw the thing, but I couldn't hope to leave on foot without risking it treating me like it treated my horses. But if I could get in the car with whoever was coming my way, I might be able to escape before it could stop me. I didn't know or care who it was. I decided that the moment they stopped the car, I would jump in the passenger seat and tell them to get the hell out of here. I didn't get the chance. The car worked its way slowly along the road, trundling across the uneven ground. I urged it silently to hurry. It was when it passed between the two bales placed on either side of the road that I began to hear a booming clatter from the woods. The thing burst suddenly from between the trees, sprinting on all four of its terrible, gangly limbs towards the car. Within a few seconds it was there, pouncing on the automobile like a predatory cat. In moments it was picking and peeling the vehicle's steel frame apart, working to get at the driver. The man, whoever he was, screamed all the while, and I could hear him even over the crunching of metal and the shattering of glass. It was only when the thing crushed him carelessly in its hand that the screaming stopped. It tossed him away and straightened up to look at me once again. In the sunlight, I could see the inhumanity of it. It was composed entirely of something awful and alive which was lashed together in a messy semblance of a human form. Whatever it was made of looked so polished and hard that if it weren't for the minute writhing of the stuff, I'd think it was made of granite. The thing retreated back into the woods and I was left to my shock. My eyes wandered to where the car sat, the engine still sputtering between two of the hay bales. Suddenly, I understood. The message was very clear. I am this thing's captive, and I am not allowed visitors. Nothing may cross the borders it has set. I'm trapped here, by the thing that stalks the fields, and it demands nothing except that I never leave. Still, I don't know if I can handle being that thing's canary. I've been thinking hard for the last few days since I saw it crush that man's chest and silence him before he could finish his scream. If I crossed the hay bale border, it'd probably do the same. It'd smash my skull before I could put my hands up to protect myself. It'd go and find a new pet and probably keep looking until it found someone who could stand knowing that it was waiting just outside, watching it at all hours with its shiny insect eyes. I've been thinking hard for the last few days, and I might just make a run for it. I'm pretty freaked out. That thing has been there for almost a week. The figure in the window. It looks featureless, only skin on a human frame, and it's pressing itself against the glass somehow. I don't know how it got there, and I don't know how to get rid of it. At first I thought it was a prank, a doll or mannequin that some jerks put there to scare me, but I realized as I walked out of my house to pull it away, it wasn't there. I shrugged it off thinking that someone had hidden it while I was walking through my door. But I went back in and looked out that same window and it was looking in, staring at me. I walked around my house yelling for whoever it was to come out, but no one was there. The thing is hairless and naked and it didn't look like it actually had eyes or even a face at all. But its head is turned towards me when I enter the room. When I sit at my computer, I can feel its faceless hatred boring into my neck. But when I turn around, it's innocently turned in a different direction. Finally, on Thursday, I tried to open the window, but it's stuck. I think the thing's hands are keeping it down. But I got a good look at its face. Its eyes and mouth are behind the skin, pushing outward. It stared at me, smiling. I pulled back a fist and smashed it onto the glass, determined once and for all to get rid of that glaring monster. I know I'm strong enough. The glass should have cracked. But it didn't. It shuddered under my hand, but it didn't break. And that smile just got wider and wider and wider, and until I thought its head would break in half. It raised its own hand and bashed the window with its palm. It was mocking me. But I saw the faintest crack begin to appear where it had hit, and I backed away. No way did I want that smile in the same room as me. So I got a roll of duct tape, and I started covering the window. I couldn't look directly at it. I nearly shit myself just knowing it was watching me. But I couldn't help it. I took a quick glance at that skin-covered face. A small peek. It was angry. That menacing grin was now a gaping frown full of teeth. The skin had ripped away from its mouth, and I could see down its cavernous throat. A menacing rumble started to fill the house, and that hairline crack began to spread like splintering ice. I pulled down the duct tape. The rumble stopped, the split skin healed over, and it began to smile again. Now it's night, and the noise hasn't started again. There are no sounds, no rumble, no crackling glass. Everything's quiet now. But I can feel its claws gripping the back of my chair. I can hear its skin stretching as it's smiling. He's watching me type. Did you remember to look over your shoulder to make sure nothing was there? Go ahead and do that now. I'll give you a moment. Everything all right? Good. I sure hope your window blinds are closed and the horses are locked up safely. If you see anything moving around out there, a word of advice. Turn off the light, get low to the floor, and stay very, very quiet. I would assume you're safe for now though, as long as you've taken the proper precautions. And speaking of, you wouldn't happen to have any toys in your room, would you? No dolls, no plushies, anything like that? Well, the only reason I ask is because, you know, SCP-1048. Item number 1048 under the Secure, Contain, Protect Foundation's protocol is, like many other items in the facility, completely innocent at first glance. Known as the Builder Bear, this creature does its absolute best to keep up appearances as a child's wish come true. The Builder Bear is a walking, sentient teddy bear that communicates through hand and head movements. It's been known to show great affection for new friends by walking up and hugging their leg, as well as performing acts of entertainment like dancing, bouncing, and even creating drawings. The Builder Bear itself has not been seen to perform any action that isn't directly affectionate or positive, though in attempting to communicate with it, SCP-1048 will, at times, completely ignore certain questions. The Builder Bear's containment in the facility showed no signs of change in behavior for 7 months after securing it. It was only after this point that an incident occurred to reveal its full capability. Staff in Facility Site-24 on their usual rounds discovered SCP-1048 wandering the halls with a companion, a replica of the Builder Bear created entirely from severed human ears. The replica has been designated SCP-1048-A, and the report goes as follows. The security team arrived first and attempted to contain SCP-1048-A. Subject emitted a high-pitched shriek that inflicted intense pain in the eyes and ears of everyone in a 10-meter radius. Ear-like growths immediately began growing on those within 5 meters of the subject, covering their bodies in less than 20 seconds. Every person afflicted with this symptom died within 3 minutes, including the entire security team. Autopsies revealed the cause of death to be asphyxiation caused by an abundance of the ear-like growths manifesting in the mouths and trachea of all victims. SCP-1048 and SCP-1048-A fled the scene before Dr. Carver arrived and have not been contained since the incident. No sightings of both have been reported on multiple occasions. Shortly after this incident occurred, a researcher was discovered missing an ear. According to him, it was removed through unknown means while he was asleep. No other victims of ear removal were found, so it is unclear if SCP-1048 obtained more ears from another source or if it is capable of duplicating objects or materials. Security measures were elevated to locate 1048 and its new accomplice, but an all-out hunt for the Builder Bear couldn't prevent the arrival of its second creation, 1048-B. Subject was discovered by several Foundation staff members in the cafeteria of Site-24. Subject's appearance was nearly identical to SCP-1048, but it moved in an irregular, jerky manner. Witnesses reported that it appeared as if something was moving inside of SCP-1048-B. Subject made no attempt to interact initially until a burst in its seams revealed what appeared to be the hand and arm of a human infant poking out and grasping at the air. At the sight of this, a female researcher screamed and SCP-1048-B reacted by emitting a high-pitched cry similar to that of a human infant. The subject then attacked the screaming researcher, causing massive internal damage. In the ensuing chaos, a security team was forced to execute both the researcher and SCP-1048-B. Approximately 3 hours after this incident, a doctor was found unconscious and bleeding in her office. An abortion had been performed on her while she was sleeping, and the 8-month-old fetus was never found. It is hypothesized that 1048 used the doctor's unborn child to create 1048-B. Information regarding the possible origin of SCP-1048-B is not to be leaked to the survivors currently undergoing therapy for the incident, as Dr. Carver believes it would be extremely detrimental to their recovery. And even before recovery from 1048-B's attack was over, the Builder Bear showed staff just how busy it had been. SCP-1048-C. Subject resembles a teddy bear similar to SCP-1048 but composed entirely of rusted metal scraps. Subject was first sighted by Dr. Carver in his office while writing up a report on the SCP-1048-B incident. Subject fled the room when it noticed Dr. Carver observing it. In the attempted pursuit of 1048-C, Dr. Carver witnessed the death and maiming of Foundation personnel as the subject exhibited extreme violence during its escape. 1048-C has not been encountered since this initial sighting, and it is unknown whether it still resides somewhere within Site-24. The origins of any materials possibly used to construct 1048-C by 1048 are also unknown at this time. Extreme caution is to be taken if 1048-A or 1048-C are encountered again. I cannot stress this enough. The damn thing jumped right through those poor people. This is not a joke. We have no idea what SCP-1048's full capabilities are. Who knows how many of the damn things are out there by now? There are no reports that the Builder Bear or any of its active creations have been captured. The capabilities of SCP-1048 to operate in secret reveal that it may have been able to form many new replicas by now, and some could have very well escaped from the facility, but the concern lies mainly in what hasn't been observed. Until being brought to the Foundation, the Builder Bear wasn't known to be the Builder Bear. It was just a living plush doll. While it was out in the world, undetected, just how many replicas did SCP-1048 manage to make? We may never know. The idea that a toy you own could come alive in the way 1048 did is unnerving, but at least whoever used to own it knew it was around and never had to worry about the Builder Bear suddenly whispering in its ear. It was benevolent in all of its appearances until a replica arrived, and because the Foundation didn't know about its behavior, its owner could rest with the knowledge that their special living toy was just a dream come true. But what about the toys of which this can't be said? The dolls and items inside your home you don't even remember buying, or, for that matter, making.
Alan, check it out.
Ah!
Apparently I made a puppet in my sleep. His name is Rupert.
Oh! Greg, Rupert is absolutely terrifying.
Ah, don't be silly. Rupert is great. I made him in my sleep with my genius because I'm an artist.
In your sleep?
Yeah, I was having this dream about a six-legged cow, and I woke up and Rupert was in my bedroom. Oh, come on. Don't you think that Rupert would be great for an Alan hour?
Yeah, here's the thing, though. No.
No, come on. He'll be hilarious. Everybody loves puppets. I can make him talk.
Hello, new friend. Do you like to play pretend? I like to play pretend. Sometimes, I like to pretend that I'm the one in control. Playing pretend is fun.
See? Hilarious.
Why would you make it say that?
I don't know. Just kind of came to me.
The video we've just seen comes from a major YouTube channel dedicated to parodies, animations, and general topic discussions with a sense of offbeat humor called Fim Flam Philosophy, created by the company Dawn Somewhere. One such series on the channel is called The Alan Hour, a series of short pieces starring a writer and voice actor for the channel's productions. Greg, the aforementioned puppet creator, is roommates with Alan and also a main writer, voice actor, and animator for the channel. After this odd bit of activity in their house, Alan proceeds to catch up viewers on the latest occurrences in his life, as he often does in his segment.
Hey guys, it's Alan. Just giving you guys a general update. Not much to do this week, as you can hear. I'm a little bit sick. But we got a new couch, so that's pretty cool, right? You can sit on the couch.
Good morning, boys and girls. Cock-a-doodle-doo. I'm Rupert, and this is my friend, Alan.
Hi. Rupert, what have you done with Greg?
I don't know what you mean, friend.
Rupert, what have you done with Greg?
You know, that reminds me of a song. Sing along if you know the words, friend. Listen very carefully, I'll serenade with chemistry. Your body's barely built for having badly bonded enthalpies. To put this in perspective, you'll be beaten by your hemoglobin. Since it goes accepting gas that quickly makes your breathing broken. Chlorine is a gas in a natural state at STP. It's simple to create. It forms itself quite easily. All you need is water and some hydrochloric acid, then you sit right back. The reaction is quite rapid. H2O plus HCl. Mixing both will go quite well. 432 kilojoules per mole is all it takes to lose your soul. Once those joules have been released, that is when your heartbeat ceased. Now you know your chemistry. Next time, won't you sing with me? You didn't sing along, friend.
I didn't know the words.
Hydrochloric acid is highly corrosive and extremely poisonous, and the result of mixing it with water is chlorine gas, which is just as dangerous for human beings and more easily taken into the body through respiratory systems. At low-level exposure to chlorine gas, humans will experience a mild mucous membrane irritation that can usually be tolerated for about an hour. At 515 parts per million, that mucous membrane irritation increases. Go up to 30 parts per million and there's immediate chest pain, some shortness of breath, and a noticeable cough. Anything as high as 40 to 60 will result in pneumonia-like symptoms. Naturally, high levels of chlorine gas exposure do result in death. Concentrations of about 400 parts per million and beyond are generally fatal over 30 minutes, and at 1,000 parts per million and above, fatality occurs within only a few minutes. The first major symptom of chlorine gas poisoning is an irritated mucous membrane. The mucous membrane can be found lining several internal organs, but the areas that experience the most exposure are inside the open passages of the nose, mouth, throat, and lungs. What was it Alan said in the beginning of the episode?
Just giving you guys a general update. Not much to do this week, as you can hear. I'm a little bit sick.
It certainly seems like Alan is suffering from a sore throat, and he's confirmed that he's not feeling well. The mucous membranes of his respiratory system may be feeling irritated. Let's see if he does any better in the next video.
Hello, friends. Hello, friend Alan. How was your Thanksgiving?
Rupert, I've been tied to this chair for a week.
But weren't you thankful for something?
No, I was not. Not really.
Friends, we should learn about why we're thankful. It's an important part of our culture. Thanksgiving is a time when we celebrate the harvest.
Getting real tired of this, Rupert.
This story is a lie that has been passed down, non-maliciously. Once upon a time, the chosen people came to the new land in search of a utopia. However, they only found humanity. Those who were spared lived to enjoy the pagan harvest celebration. But we must not judge history harshly, friends. They were but sinners in the hands of an angry god. After hearing history like that, aren't you thankful, friend?
Yeah, totally thankful. And, well, the balloon just came off. So, I'll see you later. I'm gonna go get a priest.
Okay, I'll wait for you, friend.
It's best to assume that Alan got a hold of a priest after all, because the next two videos show he's quite alright. He goes job seeking and employs Greg to help him as a reference, and there are discussions about pest problems in the house. The next video, Joke Time, comes 2 months after the Thanksgiving episode.
Hello, friend Alan.
Oh, God. Hi.
It's joke time.
Oh, I thought we were done with this.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7, 8, 9.
6 is afraid of 7 because of an existential crisis. That joke just isn't good. It's not funny. And how could 6 tell his poor friend? Friend Alan, I hope you know you are my most best friend.
Uh-huh.
My joke is good because it's real. And very funny, and should be on your show more now.
Wait, hold on. Let's take a look at this here. Alan was afraid of 7. Greg was not in this show. Smeg was 7. Let's hear what Rupert said about the joke again.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7, 8, 9.
6 is afraid of 7 because of an existential crisis. That joke just isn't good. It's not funny. And how could 6 tell his poor friend? Friend Alan, I hope you know you are my most best friend.
Uh-huh.
My joke is good because it's real.
My joke is good because it's real. And the joke was that 6 is afraid of 7 because of an existential crisis. When we look at the credits, we see Greg isn't part of this episode. We know he's the operator for Rupert's puppet, but he isn't here. Instead, we have Alan, who played 6, and Smeg, who plays 7. Alan is clearly terrified of Rupert. Look how things turn out after the credits.
You could never be 7 to me, friend Alan.
Smeg and Alan are the only ones playing any parts in the room for this episode, and the only characters here are Rupert and Alan. Alan is playing 6, who's afraid of 7, and Alan's clearly frightened of Rupert. This would make Rupert 7, which, by extension, makes him Smeg. But who is Smeg? Let's see if we can find out more in the next episode.
Why, hello there, friend Alan.
Hi, Rupert.
I see you're reading a scary story.
Yeah, I like looking at the pictures.
Well, I could paint a very vivid picture for my friend Alan.
Oh, please do.
Once upon a time, there was a man who played fiddle. He played fiddle very well. In fact, he played so well that he made many close friends to hear him play. His close friends liked to bring their own instruments that they used to keep their friends asleep. But the old man didn't sleep, and that was frustrating for friends. But then one day his best friends came, and the man was very tired because he refused to sleep, so he wasn't very good at fiddle, and that upset his friends very much. They'd come all that way to hear their friend play fiddle, and he wouldn't play. They'd brought their drums and their flutes, and they played to try and help the man get in the spirit, but he would not play well. They thought, maybe our friend doesn't want to be our friend anymore, and they became worried. So the friends played louder and louder, and the man tried to play with more vigor, but he was not as enthusiastic. His friends took him away. The end. You should sleep more, friend Alan. I worry about you.
Kind of hard not to notice reality itself being disturbed by the presence of a giant watching eye in the sliding door during that episode. There's more happening here than just Rupert telling a story that, according to his final comments, might be a metaphor. As for the credits, Smeg was an honorary Thundercat. It's right under 2 more credits that just don't make sense with this episode, almost as if this screen is a joke or a lie. The next 2 videos don't include Rupert, but do have Smeg in the credits. Smeg was last seen in a blue sedan. Smeg failed Dirt Mall. The next video featuring Rupert is titled Scrambles.
Hello, friend Alan. Time to wake up and have fun and play.
No, Rupert. I'm trying to get a nap before work.
Did someone say have fun and play?
I did, my self-inviting new friend.
Sorry. My name's Scrambles. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
Well, what would you like to do together, new friend?
I just thought I'd show up and maybe have a little fun too. I'm sorry.
Whose hand is that?
Ah!
Alan is the puppet, Greg is the hand, Smeg is the theater. We have a hierarchy of control here now. Smeg encases Greg, which plays Alan as a puppet. Let's go back to the original Rupert videos now and see if there are any hints there. In the video New Couch, in which Rupert instructs us on creating poisonous chlorine gas, the credits read, Alan was water, Greg was Jules, Smeg was in a gas phase. Didn't Rupert say something about Jules?
432 kilojoules per mole is all it takes to lose your soul. Once those joules have been released, that is when your heartbeat ceased.
Once the joules are released during the chemical reaction, cardiac arrest takes place, killing those who breathe in too much chlorine gas. What about the title in Rupert's first appearance, the one where Greg claims he must have made Rupert in his sleep? Greg was oblivious, Alan was cautious, Smeg was the doorman. So, something really is going on here and Greg doesn't have a clue. Smeg is the doorman, the being who lets things in or out, and Smeg is also the theater. But what or who is Smeg? On the website for Alan and Greg's company, Dawn Somewhere, there's a crew page listing the details of each production member. Alan is there, another associate named DeMarcus is there, Greg is below him, and their animation artist Ryan is also included. But after Ryan, there's another credit listed. Smeg. The description for Smeg lists him as the former king of Bavaria who was abdicated from his throne in shame after a scandal. He then journeyed to the Himalayas and learned their secrets before his mind was hijacked by space leprechauns. He was forced to do unspeakable things in pursuit of gold and has since been banned from Nepal as well as St. Louis, Missouri. After his mind was freed, he was drawn to the colorful parody work of Alan and Greg. Smeg came from the shadows to make them an offer. He would grant them use of his personal computer server for their website and give them programming as well. What was given in exchange for this we'll never know. However, Smeg was a madman whose power only increased his insanity, and in a fit he attempted to kill the only woman he ever loved non-platonically. He then tore a portal into a dimension the guys couldn't follow him into, and he's been working against them and their company ever since. Power was taken from Smeg over the server and website, and discussion of the nefarious Smeg is now considered high treason and a bannable offense on the site. It's worth noting that Smeg's story seems to both be a true tale with some credibility and a mockery at the same time, which would happen if parody artists got the chance to write his history. The overall feeling about Smeg is pretty negative, but for a good reason. Returning to Alan Hour, we see Smeg's name appear over and over again in the credits, and the case is the same. Quite often, Smeg seems to be credited as the god behind the machine in whatever's happening, or the force behind something dangerous or damaging. But the rest of the time, Smeg is reduced to a joke or some type of failure is blamed on him. You have to assume at first glance that Smeg is just a running gag and there is no Smeg, except for the joke that Rupert tells us later.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7, 8, 9.
6 is afraid of 7 because of an existential crisis.
Remember, Smeg was 7 and Alan was afraid of 7. This makes Alan number 6. Alan is afraid of 7 due to an existential crisis. That existential crisis is whether or not Smeg is actually real. And if he is, that means Greg isn't just using Rupert to mess with him. He's either a non-factor at this point or Greg just might be possessed. Whatever Smeg is, he's not friendly, and Rupert seems to be an extension of his intent. You might also want to consider that if Smeg is the theater and both Greg and Alan are inside that theater, it would mean the giant eye looking through the sliding glass door belongs to Smeg. After all, Smeg was the doorman when Rupert first appeared and Greg doesn't remember making him. There's even more evidence of Rupert's true intentions and his campaign of terror against Alan on the official Fim Flam Philosophy channel. The Alan Hour playlist specifically is where you'll want to go. Be sure to watch for Smeg's role in each episode regardless of whether or not Rupert appears. Something is certainly going on here, and it's only just begun. As for what's going on in our own little theater, festivities are well underway yet still far from over. It's time to take a short reprieve. After all, it's no fun to eat all your Halloween candy in one night and have nothing left over for the next day. In the meantime, feel free to investigate deeper into the realm of Twigs, the Seed Eater, the SCP Foundation, and Rupert's Friendship Theater. No matter how shaken up you feel, there's plenty more fear to be found. If you've enjoyed course 1 of tonight's treats, feel free to hit the like button and leave a comment below telling me what new monster is your favorite. Hit the subscribe button as well to catch part 2 tomorrow as soon as it airs and meet some new horrors lurking around the corner. If you have any information on brand new beasts, creatures, monsters, and freaks that deserve a lot more attention, tell me on Twitter, Tumblr, or just send me an email. Make sure to explain how you found it and leave a link to the source material if you can find it. The Candy Bowl may be a full celebration of the unknown and unexplored, but bringing new dark material to the light by incredible new creators is, and always will be, a mission statement for the Nightmind channel. The fans of today will be the developers, producers, artists, and writers of the next big thing to leave an impact tomorrow, and Nightmind will be here to help great new creators on their path. That's all for now, friends. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Don't worry, we're not done quite yet. The Candy Bowl will be back tomorrow with more surprises in store. But until then, we must part ways. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like the horrifying creature in your backyard, I'll be seeing you again real soon. Sleep tight, and happy Halloween!